Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today I've got my review of the Elite Varos hunting bow. This is Elite's latest flagship hunting bow for 2026. I've had a chance to throw, again, 200-ish arrows through this bow over the last little while to prepare for this review. But first, let's have a quick look at specs. This bow has an axle-to-axle length of just a smidge under 32 inches. It's 31 and 15/16. It's got a brace height of 6 and 5/8 inches. And it's got an IBO rated speed of up to 338 feet per second. More on that in a little while. I have set this bow up with my usual Hamskea Raptor Peep 1/4 inch. I've got also a Hamskea Trinity arrow rest, and I've got my old school, super affordable, fantastic old hunting sight from Rocky Mountain. It's a 5-pin sight. I reviewed this many years ago. I still have this on bows when I'm testing them. Great little product, but beyond that, this bow is set up as you see fit. I have not been shooting this a lot with an additional stabilizer. Some bows I shoot, I'd like that extra stabilization. Some bows feel so good out of the package that I'm not really playing with it. Again, if I'm shooting at 60, 70 yards, I'll probably add a little stabilizer, but for shorter shooting sessions, this stubby stabilizer that comes on here and also acts as a dampener has been just right for me for this whole setup. So this bow has some new technology worth talking about, and that all starts with the new micro splitters on the top and bottom. This is a bit of timing technology that Elite has installed on these bows. It's similar to what I've seen on another bow this year. So there's a set screw, and then you throw in your Allen wrench, and you can kind of make your cables shorter or longer as you see fit to kind of make sure the cams are timed up exactly. It's a super handy piece of technology. Out of the box, I didn't really have to make a lot of movement on these myself. There was maybe just like I'm talking like a 1/4 turn to get it absolutely bang on perfect, but it was really close out of the box, so no major complaints about that. But super easy to use. It's a great piece of technology, and it makes a lot of sense to have something like that you could make kind of timing adjustments on the go, on the fly, no matter where you are. It's super easy to do. I love that a lot. This bow also has S.E.T technology, which Elite has had for a number of years, and I use that a lot this time around. When I set this bow up initially, I was getting a substantial tail left tear. We're talking, 1.5 inches or so. And so I use the classic S.E.T technology. Again, there's a set screw on the front, and then over here, I just turn this bolt to the counterclockwise. I ended up doing pretty much as far as it'll go to get to get my tear kind of where I needed it to be. It's not, I wouldn't say I have it as a perfect bullet hole, but again, that's never really the goal for me. The goal is to have my broadheads grouped together, and that will be the ultimate test with this bow. But for now, I've got a good starting point, and the S.E.T technology makes that very easy to get your bow get your tear in manageable position to get started with. So I've got that. It came in very handy this year. I needed that a lot. It was very useful. This bow goes from, I think, 25.5 to 31 inches of draw length. I've got mine set with the 30-inch draw length mods in here, and when I measured that using this, it also has an adjustable draw step over here. So the draw step kind of lets you change your let off from 70-ish to 90-ish%. I did not love the feel of it at the full 90. It just maybe a little bit too much valley for me. So I've moved these over just a smidge, maybe like about 1/4 of the way. So I would say I'm about 85% let off. And with these in that 85% position, my draw length was exactly 30 inches, like on the button 30 inches. So I couldn't ask for any more than that. Overall, it was pretty easy getting this thing going how I wanted it to go, despite having to make some a fairly major change with the S.E.T technology to fix my tear. Everything else has been great. The bow is an absolute tack driver. This is probably, of the hunting bows I've had from Elite over the last number of years, this is probably the one I've been shooting the best, to be fair. I don't know why. It's not the longest bow, again, just under 32 inches axle to axle. But I don't know, the whole package just feels really good in my hand to me. I'm absolutely loving it, even with the stubby little stabilizer on there. But again, as I mentioned, if you want to shoot longer range, by all means, add a longer stab up there with some weight in the front. Your mileage is going to vary anyway. That's just how it's been for me. Some other interesting tidbits on here is Elite's kind of new rack accessory system. They've got basically a Picatinny rail on the top and the bottom, and that'll host a bunch of Elite accessories. I don't have any of those accessories on hand at the moment, but it's, anyone who's used a Picatinny system on firearms, or a lot of, like you have on the front of the bow here if you're setting up one for your sight, they hold on great. It's a super simple solution for adding accessories to your bow. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to test some Elite accessories with that rack system. It should be mentioned that the Varos has the SP2 cam system. This is 1/4 inch adjustable with a rotating mod. I've got the performance mods on here, so the bow will be as fast as it's going to get. And the draw on this bow is typical Elite goodness. I shot a draw cycle video just a little while ago. Let's go into detail on how the draw feels to me. As I mentioned, it's time to talk draw cycle with the Elite Varos, and this is typically kind of my favorite part of the video, as draw cycle is really high on the list of important things to me when it comes to archery, hunting bows, target bows, anything else. If I don't like how it feels, I don't want to shoot it. And the Varos does not have that problem, at least in my books. So Elite has a history of making bows that draw really nice. And this is, again, another classic Elite draw cycle. Super smooth, super linear. You know, let it down. You know, it's like anything else when you're letting down a hunting bow. I've got this set up at about 85% let off. So the letdown is maybe a little bit more aggressive than it would be if I had this down to 80 or 75% let off, but I just like how the valley feels at 85. For me, the 90 was maybe a little bit too much with the draw stops all the way in, but just like, you know, just a smidge off the back wall, I'm putting this at about 85. It's a very good number for me personally. And the draw, again, like maybe the tiniest dip into the valley, but that's negligible, and it also because I'm at 85. If I'm at 80, I probably don't feel that. But the bow holds on target exceptionally well, even with that little stubby stabilizer. Post shot, very little vibration, if any at all. Seems relatively quiet to me. I'm looking forward to comparing all the other bows together, see which ones kind of maybe produce the most of the least noise. But bottom line is the bow draws well. Elite knows how to make a bow that draws well. Every year they make bows that draw really well. And this is certainly no exception. It's, again, a pretty crisp feeling draw. The draw cycle is easy to manage. Again, let down, reasonable, and all told, like it's, you know, it's a pretty nice draw cycle. The IBO on this bow is 338. You know, I always question when I get a really nice drawing bow if it's going to be able to reach its rated speed. We'll see about this one. I'm going to test the speed as soon as I'm finished here. But as it stands, another winner of a nice drawing bow from Elite. No surprise at all. And I really do like how it holds at full draw. It's about a 32-inch bow, so it's not the longest out there, but this package, for whatever reason, like I don't get a lot of unsteadiness in my pin. You know, I often do a little drop low left, which is kind of just on me with every bow, but I'm not really noticing any shakiness on the pin, and which is, you know, unusual for me for a bow with no stabilizer at all outside of the stubby. So hats off to Elite for making, you know, a very stable feeling platform with a nice draw cycle. All right, Archery Talk, let's talk speed. And as I mentioned, this bow is set up with 70 pounds of draw weight, and that's with the limbs pretty much pinned down, and 30 inches of draw length. I shot 2 different arrows through the chronograph, a 350 grain arrow and a 455 grain arrow, to give you guys a little bit of an idea of different arrow weights going through the chronograph. The 455 grain arrow is the arrow I would hunt with. The 350 grain arrow is just for speed tests. With that lighter arrow, I saw speeds of 327 and 326 feet per second. Now that is about 11 feet per second under the advertised speed. And in all honesty, that's about average for me in the archery industry over the last 10 years of testing bows. I'm always hoping I can get some really close to their number. And once or twice a year, I might get one that does. This year I've had a few, which is strange. But also once or twice a year, I get one that is well below that number, in that 15 to 18 feet per second, slower than its advertised speed, or even worse. So all told, this one is pretty much down the middle, but there is a caveat with that. I have this bow set up with 85% let-off mods. Not mods, but 85% let-off position. So if you move this rotating let-off mod all the way to the front, so you got about 70% let-off, then you could probably move your draw length at least a half an inch, so make it 30 and a half, and that would actually put you at 30 inches of draw length, I would imagine. And I think if you do that, you're going to get another 5 feet a second. So let's see, end up at 332, 333 feet per second, and maybe even more. I'm not sure exactly how much draw length that's going to change by moving the let off, but I think quite a bit. I might test that in a future video, and honestly, I would never shoot a bow like that. I don't like shooting a hunting bow set up that aggressive. I just don't feel comfortable with it. I like a little more let off than that. However, if it's something you would like to do and you need that extra speed, it's certainly an option. I would say go for it. I also mentioned that heavier 455 grain arrow, and with that one I saw speeds of 292 and 291 feet per second. And that is absolutely in the wheelhouse for speed for me with a broadhead that I like. For some reason, I don't love when broadheads kind of approach 300 feet a second. I like that 280 to 290 range. So this, as this bow is set up, this is probably how I would take this into the woods. It's going to get me the best performance, at least for me, with fixed blade broadheads. If you like how your broadheads fly faster, by all means, let it fly. But this is just how it works best for me. And realistically, I've now had this bow for a bit. I've put a couple hundred arrows through it, and as I mentioned, I think the Varos is probably my favorite elite bow to shoot, at least as far as accuracy goes. I don't have a real good reason as to why that is. I don't know why I like how this bow shoots more than elites I've shot in prior years, but it happens like that from manufacturer to manufacturer and bow to bow. Sometimes they just work for me and sometimes they don't. And those same bows might have an opposite effect on you. So I would suggest that you don't take what I say as gospel. I would suggest you go to your dealer and shoot as many bows from as many manufacturers as you can and find the one that fits you best. But I do appreciate you watching these videos, and hopefully it'll give you an idea of what to look for. This, I should mention, is the final of 6 bows I think I've got for the 2026 ArcheryTalk Hunting Bow Shootout. I am now going to put a couple videos together related to that shootout for you. We'll have a speed test video, we'll have a draw cycle video, and I might even do a sound test video if I can wrangle a decibel meter. ArcheryTalk, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. You have no idea how much that helps the channel, and we'll see you soon.